Hey guys, it's Maria here, and I'm so glad that December has arrived, because December is my favorite month, because it's my birthday month, and because all of the holidays are in December. My favorite holiday of the year is New Year's Eve, because for most people who were born in Russia and Ukraine, the culture basically makes the New Year's Eve the central holiday of the year. Of course, Christmas I absolutely love, I celebrate it, but New Year's Eve is just my favorite holiday of all times. So December is very awesome, and I thought I'll film a December tag. So I'll paste the questions down below. And yeah, if you want to stay tuned for more of my Vlogmas videos in December, subscribe to my channel. And let's go straight to the questions of the tag. So the first question, and by the way, I'll be looking at my computer screen over here just so I don't forget all the questions. So the first question is, snow. It is beautiful when it first falls, but then it starts to melt. A book or a series that you loved at the beginning, but then at the middle of it you realize you don't like it any longer. So for me, such series is the Three Musketeers and two sequels, 20 years later, and Vicomte de Bragelonne, 10 years later. Sorry, 20 years after, I meant to say. Okay. So, The Three Musketeers, fairly well-known novel by Alexandre Dumas, and not too many people are aware that there are two sequels, so 20 years after and Vicomte de Bragelonne. So, when I first started reading The Three Musketeers, I was interested in reading it more from historical point of view, because really, this novel was extremely popular when it first came out. It was like people were really interested in it, and the popularity of Alexandre Dumas was going even higher, and yeah, this is a very important novel in history of literature. So I started reading it. It was all right, but then I kind of started losing track of all the numerous plots, especially political and military plots, and this is that's a very big shortcoming that I have as a reader. I easily lose track of political and military plot lines. So I kind of started losing those plot lines, and once you lose them, the novel itself becomes harder to follow, and then it just got worse in the next book 20 years later and in Vicomte de Bragelonne. So this is totally on me, but yeah, that book was something that I was interested in, but then a bit lost interest because I just got to the point where I could hardly follow all of those plot lines. And also in the 20 years after, I had a bit of a problem with the main character, who was supposed to be a protagonist, but he was showing too many weaknesses for no reason. And if you're going to read the book, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Just don't want to give too many spoilers, but yeah. Okay. So, second question, Snowflake, something beautiful and always different. Choose a book that stands out, that is different from all other books you've read. So for me, it's definitely The Tin Drum by Gunter Gras, and it's a novel which actually Gunter Gras got Nobel Prize for. So it strikes me as very different, because this is a novel where not only there is no protagonists, but also antagonist is the very main central character. And I'm not saying that there are no other books like that. There are lots of books like that. But The Tin Drum is just so bold, it's such a bold book. The author doesn't hide anything, he speaks kind of the truth, sometimes even too much. So it really stood out for me. Okay, number 3, Snowman. It is always fun to make one with your family. Choose a book that a whole family could read. So that one, definitely Moomin Troll series by Tove Jansson. So Moomins, I absolutely love them, and if I could probably answer Moomins to all of the tag questions. Probably wouldn't be too interesting, but I'm thinking of filming a separate video just about Moomins. Stay tuned. Yeah, so Moomin Trolls, very positive, very engaging book, which you can read to your kids, to your siblings, and it's marketed usually as a book for kids, but it's really a book for adults. It's really philosophical. There's some parts of it which are really sad, and I should definitely make another video to cover all of my favorite quotes from there. Okay, so number 4, Christmas, choose a book that is full of happiness that made you warm inside after reading it. Okay, and I actually have a very hard time answering that question. I can't think of any book like that. And this is probably bad, but I prefer to read literature that's a bit more, I wouldn't say sad, but something that has lots of conflicts, like lots of kind of scary parts that make me really think about myself and our society, and sometimes those topics are not too happy. Yeah, but please suggest a book for me which will warm me from inside. I would really appreciate it. Please leave a suggestion in the comments. Yeah, number 5, Santa Claus, he brings wonderful presents. Choose a book that you'd like to get for Christmas. Okay, so for Christmas, I would like to get The Revolution of Marina M by Janet Fitch, and I already told my mom that I want this book for Christmas, but my mom and my partner both suspect that probably it's not the book that I will enjoy so much. I think what drew me to that book, and it's, you know, a little silly, but it reminds me of Holiday Mood, because the book starts in St. Petersburg on New Year's Eve in 1916. Okay, so 1916, St. Petersburg, like, we know where it's all going. Like, it's going to be revolution and sadness and a whole load of problems, and the main character, Marina M, from a wealthy family, is going to end up in the midst of all of that. So basically, like, my mom and my partner are just thinking that, like, for me, because I am interested in history of Russia, like, the book will be a bit predictable or something, but yeah, still a book that, well, at least, you know, by preview, strikes me as something that would be suitable to read in the winter. Okay, next one, number 6. Snowballing. It can be painful to be hit by a snowball. Choose a book that hurt, that made you feel some strong emotions, like sadness or anger. Okay, so I actually have a story about snowballing. So, yeah, when I was a kid, I got into a fight, like a big snowball fight with one of my classmates, and I got a snowball right in my brow, and it split my brow, and it hurt, and I wasn't happy about that, so I made sure that I kind of stand my ground. Yeah, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, so back to the books. The Geek Love by Catherine Dunn is the book that I would say really, really freaking hurts. Because the book just brings up so many, you know, burning questions in the society. Like, you know, this whole group mentality, like what we can do as a group that we would not do as individuals. And then there's also this super sad moment with the main character who wants to have a child. And the person that he wants to have this child with, she knows that he will never want to have this child voluntarily. So she has to get creative on, you know, how to do it. And it broke my heart when I was reading that. So, yeah, if you feel like a little bit of sadness, read Geek Love. And I am aware of all the criticism that this book is getting. Like, a lot of people are saying that the author a bit went overboard, and I agree on all of that. And by the way, I love it when other people like totally trash or hate on the books which I love, because it gives me so many more different perspectives and it makes me love my books even more. Yeah. Next one. Number 7, sledding. We all love it when we're younger. Choose a book that you loved when you were a child. Okay, so as a child, of course I loved Moomins. That was my all-time favorite book. But The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen was my, I would say, I don't even want to say second favorite, it was my favorite book. And I loved the main characters, Gerda and Kay, they're awesome. And actually, I would say that going back to the question where we're asking which book warms my heart, I would say even though it's called Snow Queen, it's really heartwarming because it ends really well. And yeah, this is one of the books which ends well, but it has so much conflict in it, so many metaphors, that I also consider it as a bit of a psychological thriller. Yeah. Okay, so number 8, Frostbite. Choose a book that you were really disappointed in. Okay, so this might be a topic for unpopular opinion tag, but I was kind of disappointed in The Penguin Island by Anatole France. So The Penguin Island is basically a novel which takes a metaphor of a penguin island, and it basically covers the history of France and Europe in this satire form. And you know, this is just my taste. I'm probably not the biggest fan of satire just itself. I mean, I would read satire if it's short form, but entire novel, just probably not my thing. And I kind of realized really early in the book what points the author is going to be making, like what aspects of history he's going to kind of make fun of, which points he's going to exaggerate or, you know, laugh at. And yeah, so for me, I lost interest in it quite fast, and it was disappointing just because I was hoping that I will read the entire book, but it just didn't work for me. Nothing wrong with the book though, and I understand why people love it. Yeah. Cool. So number 9, that's the last one. Reindeer, something that is dear to you. Choose a book that is of great sentimental value to you. Okay, so The Hunchback of Notre Dame has great sentimental value for me. So it's a book by Victor Hugo, and I would say this was the book that I loved so much that it prompted me to become like a really avid reader and read on a regular basis. So before I read that book, and I was about, I think I was 13 when I read it, I would read books, but I would usually like read a book and then have some time and then read another book, but I wouldn't read like a book after book, so I wouldn't call myself like an avid reader. But The Hunchback of Notre Dame I loved so much that it made me love just the concept of reading. And of course, yeah, like I said, ever since my mom read Moomin Trolls to me, I would also read them myself. But I would say my kind of transition to being like a child reader into being more like a young adult reader happened after I read The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah, so these were all the questions of this tag. Please let me know which books you want me to talk about in more detail. I'd love to talk in a bit more detail, it's just I don't want this video to be super lengthy. So yeah, leave your suggestions in the comments, please. And as I said, I'll be doing Vlogmas in December, so if you want to stay tuned for that, please subscribe and have a very nice day.